America.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the Mentor Mentee Podcast. I am Amina Thomas.
What it do? Good evening, America. I am so excited to see you. I am Wendy Torres, one of your co-hosts, and welcome to the Mentor Mentee Podcast. Hey, Nate.
Hey, Wendy. How are you?
I'm doing well, but the question is, how you doing?
Let me tell you something. I'm going to be moving around today in ways that I've never moved before because Wendy has officially done exactly what she wanted to do in 2021.
What did I do?
She got me to join Effect Fitness.
Everybody, can I get a round of applause? Yes. Let me tell you something.
I got my membership this morning.
To the what? The number one gym in the world.
Yes. So I locked in. It was day one for me today. I'm sore as I'll get up, but that is expected. And so we're going to be laughing at me and not Wendy anymore.
Listen, but I'm just so excited. You did great. So for those of you that don't know, Nate and I, we've told you our story, how we're connected. We're connected because I actually was Nate's government teacher in high school. And then eventually I became his mentor. But I was his mentor with my best friend who mentored him and over 300 girls with me over a 5-year period. And so since last season, what I haven't brought up or talked about because I wasn't ready was that we actually lost her in January. So my best friend passed away in January. So Nate lost his mentor. I lost my best friend. And so we've just been grieving. Well, in that grieving process, because Effect Fitness, I mean, listen, they don't pay me to say these things because they change lives. They have been a part of our grieving process. So every month I've been going to Effect and meeting with my trainer, with the mentees, those kids that I taught in high school that had my best friend, and we've just been working out together, just bonding. So we did that on Sunday.
That was the second time we did on Sunday.
Yes.
It's been a great excuse and a great reasoning for us to come back as a collective. It's been a positive thing because we've been able to work out and then we spend the afternoon together. So we're doing the thing that we used to do a lot when we were in high school, which was that on our breaks, on our weekends, we would spend that Friday, that Saturday, or that Sunday together.
Yeah.
And just have quality time. Talk about the things that are going on in life, what's going on with you, where you are, where you need assistance, where you don't need assistance. And so that's been really great to have the whole group again together. And it's not the whole group. We still have some that we haven't gotten back into the group. But now that we are one angel looking down at us, we got a lot of extra work to get done.
Yes, that is true. So a shout out to my trainer, Shayon Green, and Effect Fitness for giving us that space to be able to grieve and bond and be together. So from there, today was your first workout with Lola and I think Jay Reed.
Yes, Lola and Jay Reed worked me out this morning, and it was great. They are very kind. No matter where you are in your process, how you start, they will meet you where you are, and we had some fun. You know, they kept my mind going because I'm not athletic, y'all. I'm a theater person through and through, which means that the most you're gonna get me to do is movement on stage, and I've missed doing movement on stage because that's a lot of what the work I do when I direct. It's like preparing for war. Like these, you go in there and everyone you could single-handedly trust to take anyone down for you. And so I look forward to becoming one of those warriors.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. So my check-in is your check-in, right? I spent my entire weekend surrounded by people that I love. I don't know about the rest of you. So let me shout out to the people that are, hey, Kwana, hey, Captain, how are you doing? Hey, Winona, hey, Brennan says she's still sore. Hey, everybody coming in. So I am a relational person. I move through relationships. Even though I'm introverted kind of and I stay to myself, I still want to be in the midst of people. So what does that mean? I want to be at the party with all the people that I love and then be in the corner and play a game on my phone. Like that's just so like I want to be at the gym because everybody that I love is there, but then I'm gonna go sit in the corner and just like be straight till the workout happens. That's just how I am. So my weekend was full of people that I love. It was all three of my kids were here. We did some things together. We went to a basketball game. I hung out with you all. I had a great weekend. It was very busy. I'm an old woman. I was tired.
Whatever.
And then it was a little bit emotional because with everything that has happened that we're about to talk about in the podcast, I would have most definitely been texting and talking to Shauna about these things. So I I just said her name. It's the first time I said it on the show. So I missed having her to say like, what in the entire just happened? Like, girl. So, okay.
But what happened? Girl, what happened?
Okay, so let's go ahead and just get into it. So if you are on Instagram, remember if you want to chime in. So here's what we're doing. If you see me going back and forth, we are on Instagram Live, we are on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at the same
damn
time. Hey. And so we're going to see how that works. So if you want to chime in, though, if you want to make comments, you need to do that on Facebook Live because I can't really see over them old. I don't have my glasses on. But
while you at it, make sure you follow and subscribe us and leave a comment below so that we can get our views up. Thank you.
Thank you. So here's why we are here. On was it Friday?
It was last week. Let's just say.
So last week, I was in the office. I was at work and I got a text message. I'm just going to be like really real. I got a text message from my daughter. And it was, I don't know if you're a parent, but if you're a parent and you get these kind of text messages, you know it's a problem. It was Friday. Okay. So I got a text message from my daughter. So I have a group text with all my children. And it just said, Mom. And it was a video. Then it said, listen to this. I have no words, but I'm working. So my kids are now chiming in on this text on the thread and I don't really know what's happening. So then when I go and I click on it and it was the video.
You want to pause and go to the video? You just want everyone to have a live experience? Let's give them a live experience.
Okay. So let's just, oh no, that's not good. Okay. So let's just see what happens. Here we go.
Here's the video that was sent to everyone.
Doing that whole thing about Breanna. I'm sorry she was killed, but when you hang out with people with guns that shoot at cops, you're likely to get caught in the crossfire. I'm very sorry. I'm confused. Dr. G is on the announcements reading about what's her name, Breanna something, the one who was killed in the gunfire from the cops. She was hanging out with the guy who was wanted on charges. They had that, and he fired at them, and they fired back. If you hang out with people who are criminals, and they shoot at a cop, you're likely to get caught in the crossfire. It does not matter what color your skin is, you're likely to get caught in the crossfire. I'm sorry she's dead.
I should be taking notes.
It's sad that she put herself in that position.
So we're watching the Breanna Taylor video right now.
That's her boyfriend, which means she can't be with her.
Okay, here's the thing. She was with her boyfriend who was a criminal.
That was her ex-boyfriend. They came to the wrong house.
Yeah, they came, bro. What?
That was her ex-boyfriend. He didn't live there anymore.
What, do you think he fired the first shot though?
No, nobody shot anything. The cops shot first. If he shot, that was self-defense anyways, because that was the wrong house they was at. Come on, forensic science.
Okay. If you got a no-knock warrant, and besides that, I'll tell you right now.
The right guy was already in custody earlier that day.
Yeah, okay. like I said, I'm sorry she's dead, but
Oh gosh.
and they actually have proof that he fired at them first. Now,
All right, let's talk about something serious.
let's talk about, you need to be writing a reporter's note.
Wow. We're going to go into the report now. Okay. So this was the video that my daughter sent me. I got it way before it was on, before it went viral, but I got it like about third period. So that, I found out it happened earlier in the morning. You can imagine the shock. Number one, I immediately started thinking, was this a faculty meeting? I literally thought it was a faculty meeting. And I thought that the person that was talking to her was another teacher, like about to correct her. The moment I realized it was children, everything in my body dropped. Like, wait, she's talking to kids. She said that to children. Like, I cannot explain to you the level of hurt and dismay. Like, I can't even bring words to it even now, that when I realized that those were children that were talking to her, and the fact that they were trying to correct her and correct the information. And then when they were correcting her information, she still wasn't listening. I was just so befuddled. Yeah, you go.
Wait, so let's keep, okay. So that video comes out, it begins its circulation on the internet.
Yeah.
And the principal ends up writing a statement, public apology. Leroy, who is on the board, issues a public apology.
Yeah.
And then she issues a public apology.
Right.
So let's watch her public apology, and then we will get into what this conversation needs to be.
Okay.
Hello, this is Susan McCoy. I want to apologize sincerely, publicly, for the things I said today in my class that had to do with something that I was very ignorant about. I'm just heartbroken that I said something so rude and disrespectful. And I want my students to know I really, truly, truly apologize and feel just heartsick over the distrust and the hurt that I caused when I made these comments. All I can do is say I'm so sorry. I should never have talked about something that I didn't understand. And I truly, truly apologize and ask for forgiveness and hope that someday I can have that trust back with my students that I know that I lost. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Okay.
So let's talk about it. We gave her a shot. I'm gonna talk about just like from the tippy top, the first two things that come to my understanding. One, I'm to understand that on this day, the principal of a school that is predominantly brown and black Hispanic students, she declares it as Breanna Taylor Day, in which she goes ahead and on the intercom across the entire campus shares information about Breanna Taylor. I can only imagine how many times the principal said Breanna Taylor on the intercom every time she got on the intercom.
Yes, because the whole point of the day was to say her name.
Say her name. Say her name. That was the whole point. And at some point I will become a little crazy, but let me say this. When we create chants, it's even less excusable for you not to know.
Yeah.
We made it rhyme. Say her name, Breanna Taylor. Say her name, Sandra Bland. Like do you hear the song in it? Do you hear how we talk in rhythm whenever we do something? So the fact that you are ignoring anytime we speak, okay, I'm just going to put that to the side. So back to the facts of the matter. So you chose not to hear what her name was, not to put it in your recollection and to remember, but then you chose to go ahead and to speak to students without knowing the facts.
Right.
You're an educator. You went to school to learn the facts, to teach others the facts they do not know.
You teach forensic science.
You teach theory. That means you understand theory. That means you understand that you have to get the facts first and prove that these facts are either yes, true, or no, they do not work, and then move forward. So you're a science teacher, a forensic science teacher, which means that there was often times where you played with evidence.
Right.
And I'm sure you enjoyed playing with evidence. Why? Why would you not enjoy playing with evidence? That's part of the job. We get it. I got you. So you took your lack of experience, you took your lack of knowledge about the topic, and you inserted yourself into a community in which you knew was hurting.
A community that was hurting, and clearly you knew nothing about.
You knew nothing about. Absolutely nothing about. When you reach Black and brown students, you have a responsibility to know. Come on, y'all. I'll read whatever you say today. This is everyone's opportunity to talk about the very thing, which is...
Go ahead.
Educators are not by any means any better than our president that we used to have.
Right.
If you are going to spew lies upon lies upon lies, let me show you something. Let me show you how easy it is to get a fact. I just Googled Breanna Taylor's name. And you know what I did? I went to the New York Times. And you know what it did? It told me what happened. And isn't it ironic that every fact that you try, or every statement you try to speak about, the boyfriend, knowing criminal, the whole idea of knowing criminals is the reason why you're asking to be shot?
Okay, so we got to back up because I've been waiting.
Okay, go ahead.
This double dutch game, okay. So first of all, number one, I'm going to talk about the triggering things because this is not even a microaggression. This is blatant aggression. So the first thing that was triggering is when you said Breanna, whatever her name is, I immediately went to Kemp, who said Kamala, whatever her name, like the first thing that people do to African Americans, especially Black women, they do it to Black men as well. But is the triggering thing is to be dismissive in our names. The Bible is full of the concept of a person's name and the meaning behind it. Why is that important? That means that your entire identity is set up in your name. So when you dismiss my name, you can't even get my name right. What you just told me was that I was not important. You just told me that I did not matter. You just said that everything that I am is nothing. One of the things as a teacher that the most an anxious moment for me as a teacher would be at the beginning of the year when I would read all of these names with all of these different pronunciations. And if you know me at all, I keep looking at Instagram a little bit too. If you know me at all, then you know that I definitely have like dyslexia or I know I'm ADD, but y'all know I can't spell. So the point is, when I'm looking at all of these children's names, the most anxious moment for me is to say a child's name correctly because that is their identity. So for you to say Breanna, whatever her name is, whoever, right then and there, you are just dismissive to every person in that room. You had to know that. You have to read the room. Even as an educator, as a parent, as an adult, if you are going to tell young people something difficult, you still have to do it within a parameter that they will listen. If you just want to say something and you don't care if they listen or not, then just say anything. But as an educator, your entire job is to do what? Educate. They are the ones that are supposed to learn something, not just you say something. I'm gonna stop reading the microphone when I get mad.
You okay? Yeah, you okay? You okay? Go ahead.
I lean into the microphone. First of all, her just being dismissive of the name alone was triggering because that set the entire tone for the rest of that conversation. And then for her to get into that piece talking. Wait, did you want to pull up some comments?
I did, but I also wanted to say, as you're talking about being dismissive, I think it's also fair and needs to be said that before she dismissed Breanna Taylor, she dismissed her boss.
Come
because
on.
the very first thing she said was, "Oh, the principal is doing that thing again." Right? She's doing the thing again where she's talking about the Breanna girl who. Now listen, y'all. Okay, this is the problem. When you bring an artist involved, I start to pull out distinctive words, so I can start quoting you easily because this is what I do. So whatever the principal was doing, right? Okay, she's doing it again. I'm sorry. The tone of she's doing it again sounds like you're already aggravated at what she did. So you already telling me before you even express your opinion, you do not agree with what your principal is doing, what your boss is doing for the community in which you have been serving. What's crazy about the whole thing is you've been there longer than the principal. So you know that community isn't changing. It hasn't changed for the last 20 years. You may continue.
So that's first and foremost. As an educator, my job, and I know it is my job because it's in paperwork that I sign. I sign paperwork that says this is your job description.
Right.
Part of my job description is to carry out the plans, the vision, the ideas, the mission, the direction of the administration. So where I work, I have a supervisor, I have a director, I have an area supervisor, like a superintendent, and then I have a superintendent. All of those people have directives. They all have visions. Now, all of their vision comes from the top, right? And then everybody has different ideas how they want those things to flow from that. But all of that comes. So my job is to do my part so that vision is put in place, right? I'm going somewhere.
I'm with you.
Right. So if my job as a teacher is to put in place, maybe my school is a STEM school. It's STEAM. Maybe it's a school of the arts. Maybe my school is a school that is focusing on shifting the narrative of the community. So the principal puts all these things in place so that people feel safe and included. And that this is a place where they can learn and a place where they belong. Then I was a department chair at one point in time at a school. My job was to sit in meetings with the principal and she would tell us what her plans were. My job was to go back to the teachers of my department and execute that plan. I had to be the leadership of her plan. When teachers complained about her plan, my job was to say, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do. At no time would I ever express a negative idea about my boss's plans to the children that she's trying to implement it for. To me, case closed. There's nothing even else to talk about.
But we can't because there's so much more to talk about.
But wait, this is infomercial. Wait, there's more.
Let's talk about the fact that we're living in a pandemic in which everything is online. And so then you actually decide to express this point of view on a Zoom? I'm just saying. You choose to express this on a Zoom.
Help me, somebody.
Anybody can stop me at any point, but I'm going to continue to go.
Is there anybody here that can help a sister understand why you thought for any uncertain reason that you would be able to say these things on a platform that you're supposed to be recording the class for every child that was absent that day in the first place and espouse ideas that are contrary to the principle of the school? Not to mention, mind you, we didn't even got to the fact that your facts were wrong. We
No,
didn't
we didn't even get there yet. We didn't. We haven't even touched the fact that every sentence.
We haven't even expressed an opinion about what you've said.
Yes, we are just solely talking about your responsibility as an educator to your students and to your school and to your boss and how you did not allow any of those to actually work and how they were supposed to. You were completely off. You were completely off.
That was why when I first saw the video, I just knew it was a faculty meeting. I just knew this was a person venting to her colleagues about something. Now, it was still bad. That still would have been horrible. It still would have been out of place, and it still should have had repercussions. But at least it would have been, I did my job. I did everything I was supposed to do for the children. And now that the door is closed, why in the heck did we do this? But it wasn't that.
Now, can we also, I just have to say this. I'm not an educator yet. I aspire to one day be an educator, but I'm not. But what I am is someone who listens to some of these comments. What I am is someone who listens to tone. And there is one specific tone that I'm very good at hearing, which is the tone of a teacher teaching you something. Y'all know that tone, right? That the teacher's voice when they're actually educating you, where the rhythm, right? When we're talking about culture, stop stealing things from Black people. We're talking about we listen to rhythm and tone. Her tone, 20 seconds in, was that she was no longer just expressing her view, but that she was teaching her view to the students.
Okay, good point.
Every time she said a false fact about what happened to Breanna Taylor's murder, it was educating you. When you hang out with a criminal, you're more likely to get shot. ... That's your lesson for the day. Who told you to give me that lesson? What qualifications do you have of that lesson? The police officers had a warrant. If you hang out with people who have guns, you're more likely to get shot. The boyfriend was the first person to shoot. That's not her boyfriend. That wasn't her boyfriend. She moved on from him. They actually had no business in that house. No-knock warrants don't work. The officer walked in and blindly shot. An hour before you decided to go inside the house, you told the ambulance to go home. So you had no expectations of taking anyone in that apartment alive. Because if you had,
you're about to come on and preach now.
You would have made sure that those who are there to help in case things go wrong are there to do their jobs. But they weren't there. So again, when I talk about just your tone says that what you are telling me is what I should learn. And here's why I say this thing is so problematic. Because as a teenager, y'all, we really do trust our teachers. We spend more time with our teachers than we do with our parents. When I was at Pebblebrook, at 9 a.m. I left Pebblebrook at 10:30 p.m. every night. I spent zero time with my parents. I would get home. They would say, is that you? I would say, yes. They say, have a good night. I will go into my room. I would do my homework for a couple of hours, wake back up at 7 a.m. and take a 2-hour drive back to that school. And we did that for 4 years.
4 years. And that's why, and I'm going to jump in here. And that's why I'm so angry. And I'm trying to watch my words, because that's the reason why my children are at that school. Because I purposefully put my children in the hands of those teachers at that school for that purpose. Zion and I leave the house every morning at 7 and 7:30 in the morning. And she doesn't come home. She's not here now. She doesn't come home to 7:30 and 8 o'clock at night because she's the manager for the football team and the basketball team. I have my child in the hands of men and women that I have to trust that they're going to do what's best for my child from 7 in the morning to 7 and 8:30 at night, year round. That's 2 sports that she's involved with.
Right.
And I did it on purpose. I'm zoned for, she could go to a school where she could catch the bus. I drive 52 miles, people. 52 miles round trip every day so that my daughter can go to this school and be with people that I trust so that my daughters have an opportunity to have the best chance and a public education so that they can be safe. And when I say safe, I don't mean just physically safe, but I mean mentally safe. Being Black is exhausting.
All the time.
All the time. You've got to be, your amygdala is constantly thinking, what are you doing? What's going on? You are constantly taking information in all the time. Is this a safe environment for me? Can I relax? Can I smile? Can I laugh? Can I learn? The brain cannot even learn if it does not feel safe.
Can we talk about the young man in the video that you hear that he says, that's not true? What are you talking about? And then he says, forensic science teacher, come on. And then at the very end, he said,
let's talk about something else.
He said, can we just talk about something else? That sounds funny. What that really is someone saying is, I'm not interested. I'm disheartened now.
No, be more real. That's somebody saying, my mama taught me to respect you because you're an adult and you're a teacher, and I'm trying not to cuss you out.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what he said.
Yes, that's
I'm going to challenge you because you're wrong.
Right.
And I have the right to, and I'm so happy and I'm in so love with this group of children that felt empowered enough to say what was right and that the fact that they knew the facts. What he was saying was, I would cuss you if you was a dude, if you was another guy, I would cuss you out, but I'm showing you respect. You need to move on to something else because that was the last straw.
And there's also something to add to it, which is it's I'm going to call it the white supremacy. This is the white supremacy of the whole thing, which is to go, I'm going to start a conversation on what I want to talk about. And then the moment you challenge me on what I want to talk about, I'm going to take offense to everything you said. Halfway through the video, her tone changed, right? Suddenly, when they were combating, and they really weren't combating her, they were correcting her. When they correct her and said, no, that wasn't her boyfriend. No, that's not true. You don't have the facts. She got frustrated. Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, what do you mean? Okay, well, here's just the lesson. The lesson just is, do you get it? Like, just don't have guns. Just don't be a criminal. Do you see how psychotic that feels? Like, do you understand what you're actually doing to a group of students? It is privilege. 100% is the privilege that you are showing. And the fact that you do not have to know the facts and you have a platform that you can talk to students day in and day out. And those conversations, those are the conversations that never make it home. Because to be completely frank, there are so many conversations that you have with your teachers that never see the light of day. There's not, your parents don't find out about that conversation. Your best friends don't find out about that conversation. Some of your teachers know your deepest, darkest secrets, and it goes to the grave with them.
And that is an excellent point. The fact that she thought that she was in a place with that group of students that she could say that in front of them, and what they trusted and respected their principal more.
Yes, they did.
They respected and honored, but the fact that the principal was honoring Black History Month every day, so she was actually doing a Black History fact every day to close out Black History Month. I don't know what they did for the whole month, but I know for that week she was doing a highlight every single day, and those children recognized wholeheartedly that that was for them. And what you were doing was disrespecting something for them. You will never be able to gain that trust again.
You were disrespecting it while 5 minutes later you were going to bring up a white man's theorist on something that's scientific, and then you were going to teach a bunch of Black kids it.
Come on, Nate.
And I really just talk. Can we really just talk about it?
Just wipe it all the way off.
I'm only going to get 28 days. I'm only going to get 28 days out of the year, and you're going to be able to continue. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. In college, I had a professor tell me in a meeting once, you are a great student, but you only participate and you are only the best when it's a topic that you want to talk about. And I looked at him and I said, is it a topic that I want to talk about, or is it a topic that actually pertains to myself? Because by the time I got to college, I understood that y'all were not going to teach me about myself. I wasn't going to see myself in a textbook. I wasn't going to hear my voice in a recording. I wasn't going to watch a video that showed my upbringing. I was not going to be a part of the education in which, for some reason, I drastically wanted to be a part of. The two just didn't make sense.
Yes. I remember. Go ahead.
And so now we're in these situations where really these students, full circle, right? These students come out of one of the hardest summers they've ever lived. They've been on the streets all summer in the middle of a pandemic. They've been protesting. They've been getting people to sign up to vote. They can't even register to vote. They're not old enough, yet they're the first ones on the street making sure that you vote, so that this next time they have an election, there's something they can do so that they can actually build up upon. I mean, the things that Pebblebrook does is so magnificent that y'all don't even understand why we get so hyped when we get so hyped. Because the district won't look at Pebblebrook as a hub of culture, as its hub of culture. You know, I didn't necessarily have to go to a HBCU to feel like I belonged. I went to Pebblebrook, and that was more than enough. Yeah, I had the roots of Pebblebrook to carry me along the way.
It did.
What you want to say? I'm gonna get into these comments eventually, y'all. We are reading them, but just know, like,
I am reading all of your comments.
I'm reading, so keep going.
I will say that when I was in college, when I went to Georgia, I was at West Georgia, Georgia Southern. So I was at Georgia Southern. You know, when I was at West Georgia University, I wrote a paper, and it was my world history class, and I wrote a paper about interracial relationships. And in my paper, I talked about the relationship between Moses and his wife, and Abraham and Sarah. And then I talked about the fact that Mark Antony and Cleopatra was an interracial relationship, and the fact that Moses and his wife, Zachariah, was probably the first documented interracial relationship documented, you know, in history that I knew of. In my history class, I got a D. I got a D on that paper. In my English class, I got a B on that paper. It was all about the perspective of the white woman.
Right. Who's your audience?
That was written in my paper that tried to tell me that my evidence was not substantiated. But what she didn't realize was that I lived in a home with educators, and I had a library. So, you know, back in my parents' time when they were young, if you had a piano in your home, then that means you had money. Well, my daddy had a piano. But then, I mean, but in my time, if you had a library in your home, that meant that your parents were educated, or I guess it meant you had money. And we had a library, and that library was full of books about Black history. See, I wasn't void of Black history. I didn't grow up void of knowing about African kings and queens and those things. My mother had hundreds of books about the diaspora and the African experience pre-slavery. So when my professor gave me a D, I took a trip home to my house, and picked up those books and brought them back to the dean of my school and said, I want you to reevaluate my paper. So my point being, this world will not give us our experience. You're going to have to fight for it. I don't mean physically. Because we're on live. I'm not talking about going down to the Capitol building and terrorizing anything. That's not how we do. When we fight, we're talking about lifting your voice. Just the ability to lift your voice and say, I am here. You will listen to me, or that is wrong. It's groundbreaking. It's life shattering. There's a feeling of unease just to be able to say, I matter. Hell, we couldn't even say Black Lives Matter. That becomes a political statement.
Right.
So my point being, you're right. If you're going to learn about yourself, you're going to have to, there was a time when you had to do it yourself, and the teachers and the staff and the administration of this school in this district was making it a point to tell this group of children, not today. We will honor you. We will teach about you. We will honor who you are as a people, not even ancient history, but who you are right now. Because of the times, like you brought up, because of the times that we're in, let's acknowledge what your current emotional state as a people and of Blackness, what that means. And for somebody to disrespect that and dishonor that, I don't know that it is forgivable. Why don't you look at some comments?
Oh, okay.
While I calm down.
Okay. Wendy, do you remember the conversation in the title office that day?
Remind me, Winona. I've been trying to remember what it was. We talked about so many things.
It was with the entire group of coaches.
I remember that we were, and and I kind of do, because the work that we are leading now is going in that direction. It's it's just really disheartening, because you see an entire district, an entire state, an entire area going in a direction of we've got to take everybody with us. What the least of these, what you do to the least of these matters. And so then you're going to, but I do know you're going to have those that want to fight. They kick against the gold, right? They want to not go with the way things are going, and that is going to happen. And that's what that instance is. All
right.
Okay.
She contradicted herself when she spoke. At first, she said that they knocked, and then later she said no knock. So she's saying what she feels best supports her point of view, which is what they always do. Which is what they all do.
Yeah, that revisionist history. Like, you can't make it up. Either you did or you didn't, right? Either I did my reps or I did. Either, what rep are you on?
I'm not speaking about the number counts. I'm not.
Stop right there.
I'm not speaking about them counts. All I know is when they were like, just get to 100, I was like, okay, one way or another, I'm going to get to it.
Revision, trying to rewrite history doesn't work. Okay, go ahead.
This is the reason why we say her name. Teachers like her. It's the very reason why we have to say her name.
And can we not even honor the fact? I mean, do we have to honor like the fact that this person? I mean, yes, she is a teacher, but let me just keep saying publicly, I know these people. That is not indicative of the teachers in that place.
No, it's not a representation of the teachers or the school. But what it is, but what we do have to look at is that a professional in that moment took it upon herself to express her personal point of views. And that is not safe.
And that is the reason, and that's why districts will make policies that teachers can express their own political views, because your job, and which makes it hard for those of us that are actually trying to teach, say politics.
Well,
that's not government.
Ooh. I mean, but let's be fair. We always try to be fair, so let's be fair. It is not right for her to express her personal views.
Right.
But remember, you and Shauna would come into government class and purposefully talk about each other's political views.
Yes.
Right. To show the difference between these two individuals who are Americans. Some will say, you're talking about your personal points of view. You shouldn't be doing that. What do you say to that?
Well, because we did that on purpose, because we had two completely different points of view. Mm-hmm. We wanted to show Black and brown and white students that we wanted to show Black, brown, and white students that you can you can be friendly, you can get along, and you can work with people that have opposing views as you. Because Shauna and I were earnestly and genuinely best friends. We voted separately, like we had a conversation. It was the first election, Obama and Romney. And
McCain?
so McCain was second.
Oh,
Romney.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I'm going to vote this way, and I'm voting this way not because Barack Obama is Black, but because of these fiscal policies. She voted fiscally conservative. That was her thing. Mm-hmm. And so we had those conversations. What does that mean for us? It means nothing. We're going to continue to be friends. But my point is, you asked me, when we would have that one conversation, it was to show that people can have differing of opinions and still have areas where we were connected. Because if you remember in those conversations, the first thing we did was list all of the things we had in common.
Right.
We were brought up exactly the same. Our fathers had the exact same point of view on particular issues. Our mothers were prissy, exactly the same Southern women. We were brought up in the same religious sense. The only thing was, because that's how it is in the South, that Blacks voted Democrat and Republicans and whites voted Republican. And there were so many areas in a moderate, and that is still the issue and the problem in the South. There are so many areas in the moderate area that Blacks and whites probably could come together, except for the fact that to give up power and authority is an area of supremacy that some people just cannot let go of. They do not want to be able to let go of that higher status. And so I'm going to fight for my own family to have status in this world, so that that will always be a divide.
So now I want to talk about something else, which is
okay.
I want to talk about, so this is what I want to segue to. This is why Mr. P always says, I did my research. Don't believe me? Well, go do your own. Obviously, she didn't do her research.
Well, but the point was, when you speaking to what you were saying, Nate, what Brennan is saying is that when I was in the classroom, I would tell my students, these are the facts, but don't you ever take because my job is not to teach kids facts. My job was to teach children how to think. Because if I can teach you how to think, then I can teach you how to beyond survive. My job is not for you to survive. My job is for you to thrive in a world that wants to take you out. And if I can teach you how to think and think critically, then you can survive. You name a movie, any type of motion, thriller, action movie, who survives? The quick-witted people. Those people that think fast and move quickly. And so Fantasy and I were constantly saying, do not take my word for it. I'm telling you what the facts say, but fact check me.
Right.
Go back and look it up for yourself. Don't you ever take a person's word for it. Don't you ever take a person right at their word. Go back and do your research. And then when you do the research, you better cross-reference.
Yep. And let's also add to the fact that you would also always be open to a conversation.
Yes.
I just have to say that, right? If you have to be open to the conversation. The thing you say often, right? You saw us not at 16, 17, and 18, but you saw us as 35, 36, and 37, which meant when you were teaching us, you communicated to us in a way that if we had thoughts, if we had something to push back on, if we had questions, we had the freedom, the ability, and felt the trust and the space in the room to be able to do so. And if that meant that the lesson of the day was not going to be taught, then the lesson of the day did not get taught. It just got pushed back another day.
The moment those children started pushing, hey, Tommy, the moment those children began to push back and give her the facts, she should have said, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe what I think I know about this situation is not what I know. Tell me more. Hold on, wait a minute. What happened? That would have completely shifted.
Wait, hold on. I'm a forensic scientist. Let's see if we can find some evidence to figure out what happened. I mean, let's make this really crystal clear. There are thousands upon thousands of Black lives that have been murdered. If you want to prove to me that all of these lives that are being murdered are our fault, forensic scientists, prove it.
Well, dang.
That's what you went to school for. But now I got one more thing I have to bring in before we close.
It's okay.
Which is this. I want to talk about our white bodies for a second.
Okay.
Because right now, a lot of our conversations are truly about equality in America. Getting equality for all individuals. We can't expect white supremacy we cannot expect white supremacy to slowly pass away in our white genetic beings of Americans, if we allow professors like this to put their privilege and their disrespect and their language out there, and then no one corrects them. Okay. Why? because there are white bodies, just like there are black bodies and brown bodies, but there are white students who come from backgrounds in the South who are hearing things that she is spewing from their parents. And so, truth be told, the only way to break that mentality that they're hearing is for them to go to a school in which they're learning the facts. Well, at home, my mom keeps saying A, B, C, and D, but I just learned this theory that is not proving it. So, right. Mom, can we talk about where do you keep getting that from? Well, then maybe the two aren't the same. That's cool. That's fine. But you are also very dangerous to young white bodies. And for me, that's the thing that I really want to push on. Yes, our black bodies, yes, our brown bodies, they do not need to hear that. It is not safe. That is not what they need to be in when it comes to education. But our white bodies, if we're going to get to equality, we have got to stop allowing white supremacists who have thoughts like this to be in the room. And here's the thing. I'm not calling her a white supremacist. What I'm calling her is a product of white supremacy. She is a product of American white supremacy. All white people who live in America, who have ancestors in America, are products of white supremacy. Just as we, Black people and Hispanics, have to deal with our past and continue to fight, it is the white man and the white woman's responsibility at this point to look at their flaws, to look at their privilege, to look inside themselves and fix that shit and stop putting it back on us. Because it is not on our month, especially this month. And Women's History Month, what I'm not about to be hearing is about how all these white women did a whole bunch of things. When the truth of the matter was, behind every white woman was the black woman who was making it actually happen. But the white woman was the one who went first and opened her mouth first, who decided to be louder and then called the black woman ghetto.
So let's go back to your point. Your point, the word that goes with your point is called repentance. I just wanted to.
Come on, educator. Give my education.
The word that you were saying is repent.
Okay.
To repent is a continual turning. The word repentance actually is a motion term. It means to continually turn away from a thing. It is not one time. It's perpetual. It's a spiraling word. The Greek word for repentance means that you are forever, for the rest of your life, turning away from that thing. And what you're seeing in society right now is a group of people that are being faced with their own ugliness, and they're not capable of turning from it. So they keep trying to shift the narrative because they don't want to deal with themselves. It's just like dealing with the boy. I mean, there's no different than the man that would say, it wasn't me. It's, like the song that says, it wasn't me. Were you in the bathroom? It wasn't me. Your keys right here. It wasn't me. I was on the video. It wasn't me. That's what you have, a perpetual, it wasn't me. And I will say two things to that. I'm going to do, this is going to be my rant and all of that. And I'm going to say a couple of things because I wanted to let you get that out. Two things. They need to be very careful when all of this stuff happened with Trayvon Martin, Alton Sterling, but most importantly, Michael Brown. When that all started happening, you remember, yes, Kurt, I see. You remember that I kept saying, be careful, America, your children are watching. And I kept saying that because I saw in the spirit that your children are watching, not black children, not brown children, your children are watching. They're watching, and they have good sense. They can think critically. They can deduce, and they can make inferences, and they know that you're lying. They see what is happening. And my point is this, though, that is why there is such a rage in the older generation, is because the younger generation is one driving the narrative of protesting. They cannot understand why, when they see all these protests happening, that is their own children. That is the reason why they're fighting against the 1619 Project, against the critical race theory. That's why they don't want these other things to come about, where we're talking about the narrative of how we talk about PTSD, post-slave traumatic syndrome. They don't want these things to be talked about because they actually call, if you remember, Trump called it child abuse because it's affecting their children. So you need to understand something, America. We didn't do that. But you will reap what you sow. It is what's called reciprocity. Either repent or reap what you sow. That's what it is. The second thing that I will say, and this is a little bit of my rant, is about the fact that in this particular scenario, to be so insensitive and to say to a group of children, this is outside of it being about Breanna Taylor, but to say that Breanna Taylor was somehow complicit in her own death because she was hanging around criminals, or say because she was with somebody who was a criminal, a drug dealer, or whatever she was calling him, and whatever the ex-boyfriend had done, that none of that matters. Like the children said, none of that mattered. But to say that to a group of brown and black children, knowing that you have been in that community for at least 15 years, you knew that you were talking to somebody in the room that was their situation. Mm-hmm. I knew when I taught in the inner city, I knew when I taught at a particular school, that at any given time, a child could be coming to me and they can't control who their parent is. They can't control who their brother is. They can't control who their uncle is. They can't control what those people do every day. And you just told somebody's child that because they live in the household, and maybe not one child that she teaches, maybe not one child in that school has anybody in their family that does anything, a criminal act. Not one white child has anybody in that school that has ever lied on their taxes. Hello. That's a criminal. A person that is that has taken money out of an account, that's a criminal. So you're talking about being with a criminal, you get caught in the crossfire. You need to be real careful what you're saying and who you're saying it to. And the fact that you said that to that group of children, as an educator, as a mother, as a person that cares about the spiritual well-being of people, I can't say the words I want to say. Because you knew what you were speaking into them, and you made the environment, you told them that their life wasn't worth it. My daughter said to me, this woman thinks we deserve to die. My children have relatives, I won't say it's on my side or my ex-husband's side, that have done things that were criminal activity. So if something happened to them, they deserved it. My children make straight A's. My children wash the dishes every day. My children say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. People can't control what family they're born into. My daddy said this to me. He used to say to me all the time, you need, there's only two things I got to do. I got to stay black or die. One time I got in trouble for saying that in the classroom. That's a story for another day. But what he was saying was, I can't control who I'm born to. I can't control what year I'm born in. I can't control what gender I was born. I cannot control how the texture of my hair. I can't control the melanin in my skin. I can't control the eye color that I have. I can change it, but I can't control what I'm born to. But only things that I can control is if I pay my taxes. Right? He said, yeah, I got it. Those are two things I have to do. Everything else is a choice. But they can't control those things that I just named. And you told children that you were supposed to be helping them flourish and their brains grow and that they and be productive in the world. That if they were around someone that made a mistake, Miss Christian, they deserved death. I don't know that I can forgive that.
And then when you just think about how many times you've also heard that historically. How many politicians have said something like that? How many police officers have said something like that? And it's just yeah. All right, y'all.
I know that you guys had points to make. I hope that, you guys can get listen, just know this. There are educators everywhere doing everything that they can in a pandemic not to lose their own minds as they try to take care of your children.
Yep.
You're right. We need a part 2. And I'm just so happy to know that there's a generation coming up that is not only bold enough to speak up, but they know how to speak up intelligibly. So hats off to all of those children that did that. And for every educator out there that is doing everything that they can to help themselves and to help children, I apologize to you, not just the teachers at that school. I'm sorry that for every educator in the nation that feels some type of way because of this situation. Let me make it even more plain. For every white educator that chooses to teach in a school with brown and black children, and you do everything you're supposed to do every day to make them feel like they are everything they're supposed to. I'm sorry that you had to go undergo this scrutiny today. And to that faculty and staff, we're here with you.
I do want to congratulate Pebblebrook. They've been doing some amazing things in the last couple of years. So I feel like we should end on a positive note. Wendy, could you just share some of the highs of Pebblebrook? I know they just had like a great basketball season.
Yeah, so their basketball coach, George Washington, has had over 200 plus wins at Pebblebrook High School. They just celebrated that this week. They are in the Elite 8. They play tomorrow night. Shout out to Pebblebrook High School. I hope you win tomorrow night. Let's take it all the way to state. They just became a AP honor roll school that their students are doing amazing things over there. Also, shout out to McCoy. They're in the Elite 8 and they're playing tonight. So go Indians. But for the Pebblebrook Falcons, they just had their first women's conference this weekend called You Go Girl. I hope I said it correctly. The principal there of like all kinds of people from all over the district and all over the state spoke at that conference. I saw young women doing artwork. They were performing all kinds of stuff. It was fantastic. This is the performing arts program is impeccable. They just got through doing their Black History program. That was amazing as well. Not to mention that they're finally getting some very much needed renovations and that the campus looks great. And shout out to Dr. Dana Giles, the principal over there at Pebblebrook High School. She's doing amazing things, and I'm very proud that she's my daughter's principal.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to say, because it is March 2nd, happy Women's History Month. We're going to try and do everything we can to put our queens first this month. So, gentlemen, it ain't Valentine's Day, but it's a month where we should be serving our women and making sure they feel appreciated and loved, and be educating ourselves on how we can be better men and partners for our women and push them forward in all of their goals and dreams that they have been working on. Y'all, this is our episode. You know, sometimes it's heavy and sometimes it's light. We're gonna talk about a part 2. Listen, so there's a couple of things I need you to do before we get off. One, I need you to make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe us. If you're watching on Facebook, do that. If you're watching on YouTube, do that. If you're on Instagram, make sure you go to the Mentor Mentee page on Instagram and like and follow us there so you get all the updates. Let us know what you are interested in talking about. So if you have any topics that you want the Mentor Mentee podcast to cover, you can just send us a DM on any of our social media links, and we will have a conversation about when we can bring it on.
And if you know any eligible single men for our forum we're trying to put together, and that means eligible means they don't have a boo, they're not hooked up, and there's not some young lady out there thinking that they're in a relationship with them, give us their information, because we're trying to put together this forum on relationships. We heard you, and we're trying to make it happen.
And we would like them to be straight. We're looking for straight Black men. I'm going to say it because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for straight Black men. When I need gay Black men, I will call. And when we need bi men, I will call. But that's what I need right now. I need straight Black men. Okay? I welcome everyone. I'm just calling it out what I need, so don't nobody get offended.
You're right, because this is because we want to do a forum and a mixer.
Right.
Okay.
We're trying to do time. We're over time, and we're trying to do a mixer, and we have to get out. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining to the Mentor Mentee podcast. I am Emil Samuel.
And I'm Wendy Torres.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.